My name is Shoshana, and this is Sam and Pascal. We may look different, but each of us is here today with you because we share something in common. All three of us chose to participate in Masa, the Israel Journey, a partnership between the Jewish Agency for Israel and the government of Israel. Growing up in Boulder, Colorado, my life was full of mountains, camping, snow, granola, factors that surely influenced my personal identity. I did attend Hanukkah celebrations and Passover Seders, but it seemed almost superficial. My mother instilled a very strong Jewish identity in my siblings and me. She constantly reminded us of the hungry belly our grandmother had as a child as she escaped racial prejudice. We were never able to avoid lima beans or Brussels sprouts. My parents wanted to raise us with a sense of identity that was all-inclusive. We're Jewish, but we're also Irish. We're Ukrainian, but we're also Polish. We're mixed. We're mutts. Aside from these factors and the Hebrew name, my connection to Judaism was a mystery. I did not have a mitzvah, obviously. And I vaguely understood why my relatives invited me to their homes for the high holidays or encouraged us to attend shul. I was Jewish, but I just didn't know what it meant.
Shoshana, I grew up in one of the hotbeds of Jewish life in the United States, northern New Jersey, as I'm sure Ambassador Oren can attest to. Though people watching MTV's Jersey Shore may not realize it, North Jersey has a substantial Jewish population. However, despite the dense population, it was primarily a passive Jewish identity. Sure, I'm Jewish, we'd say, believing the fundamental characteristics of the Jewish American identity was a natural right to challah honey, kvetching, the regular use of the word kvetch, obligation to relinquish all bread products for a week, and the requirement to starve ourselves one day out of the year while our friends indulged in ham and cheese breakfast sandwiches. Israel was something we were told was important, but the only thing we really knew about it were its national anthem and the violence we saw on TV. At age 13, I stood on the bima at my synagogue, sang my Haftorah portion, as 13-year-old boys usually do, with a cracking pitch, stepped down, and danced the night away at the post-service celebration, thus officially ending my Jewish education. At 13, I was a Jew and had no idea what that actually meant. Pascal, you definitely look like you spent some time at the Jersey Shore.
Actually, Sam, I was born and raised in Munich, Germany, and please don't laugh about my Arnold Schwarzenegger accent now. My family, on both my father's and mother's sides, suffered terribly in the Holocaust. Some members of my family were fighting in the Jewish brigades in the battlefields of Europe, while in the same time, others found themselves in work and death camps. My family has lived in Germany since the 16th and 17th centuries. Family members fought for Germany in the First World War and then were persecuted by their co-workers, neighbors, and friends. After the war, my beloved grandfather worked for the US Army in Belgium, monitoring army assets and German war prisoners. In the early 50s, he returned, this time to Munich, where he re-established Jewish life and the Jewish community with other Jewish leaders. Our past was anything but peaceful, but today, things have definitely changed. I grew up in a strong Zionist environment. My dad volunteered in Israel during the wars in the 60s and 70s, while my mom served in the IDF. My mom is here with us tonight, today actually. My parents, they educated me with a specific kind of love towards Israel and the Jewish people. I really have trouble to describing this feeling today, but I can tell you that every single time I visited Israel, it was hard to leave. I'm sure that's a feeling that most of you share too. In Israel, I always felt home. I wanted to make sure that that feeling would be with me forever. It sounds like both of you had pretty unaffiliated upbringings. When did you guys connect the first time with Israel?
In the fall of 2007, as I was starting my junior year at Harvard University, a few of my Jewish friends and I decided, after hearing about this free trip to Israel called Birthright, and how much fun it was, that we needed to apply. My friends, like me, not so Jewy, but had heard the same things I had heard. Birthright would change your life. The promise of a great time and tan Jewish beauties was enough for us to overcome our reservations, and we submitted our applications. After a few weeks, we were notified that we would be leaving for Israel in December. Those 10 days in the winter of 2007 were the turning point in my life. When I stepped through security at Ben Gurion, I saw a man rushing toward me. "Sam, welcome home," he said, opening his arms and embracing me as only a family member would. From that point on, I was hooked. Reading and self-study were initially sufficient to quench my thirst, but soon were not enough. I needed to take action.
I actually had a really similar experience. When I entered college, I started hearing this buzz about Birthright, and I thought to myself, a free trip to Israel? You gotta be kidding me. So I put it aside, and then my senior year of college, a friend went on the trip during spring break and came back raving about it. So I did some research. Everything was true, and I was sold. I recruited my brother to apply, and we ended up traveling together in the summer of 2008. That trip was a huge shift in my life. When I returned from those 10 days, I knew I needed to go back to Israel longer. It was like those 10 days were a tease of the most delicious Magnum bar, but they only give you a little lick. So, when I came back to the States, I started taking private Hebrew lessons. I attended and hosted more Shabbat than 1 week actually allots. And I somehow found myself surrounded by Jewish people. And a lot of my Jewish friends were going through the same thing. They were rediscovering and redefining their Jewishness. I also became a magnet for Israelis. Seriously, they came out of the woodworks right into my life, which was running very smoothly. I was working in the music industry with successful bands and companies. My social life was flourishing, and I was fortunate to live in Boulder, where lunch break is hiking a mountain. I was satiated, but still craving something. In the April of 2010, I was offered 4 jobs in 1 week. 4 jobs that I wanted in 1 week. But still, I had this knot inside of me that I couldn't get rid of, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And when I went on a walk with a potential boss to discuss my new position, my heart was pounding, and when he turned to me and said, "So when do you start?" I just stopped and said, "I'm going to Israel at the end of the summer." Phew, a huge sigh of relief, but then also, did I just say that? He turned to me and said, "Okay, we'll have you on board until you leave." So I did some research about the music industry in Israel. No chance I could get a job with my Hebrew, lack of, and also because it's the music industry. You have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So I did just that. I met somebody, and that someone goes by the name of Masa. On September 1st, 2010, I began my 10-month journey in Israel. The first 5 months were enriched and supported by the Masa Career Israel program, which offers internships of variety fields from science to education to social justice. And the educational components that they offered us, the trips, the lectures, were all extra bonuses. They also connected me with an independent band manager in Tel Aviv who became a very close friend and also a future boss. I was exploring Israel. I was eating all the Magnum bars I could. I was binging on the experience. It was all I wanted. I had intentions of staying longer, but I had to come home, which turned out to be another huge shift in my life. When I came back to Colorado, I left the music industry and am now living in San Francisco working for a Jewish organization.
I also decided to participate in the Masa program. I had the opportunity to live and study in Israel for 1 year without making Aliyah. Well, as you can see, I stayed a bit longer. I was so happy being there that I decided to finish my master's degree in counterterrorism and homeland security, and then was drafted into the Israeli Defense Forces. Back then, I spoke barely any Hebrew. However, I wanted to take the challenge. I felt that I needed to contribute to this beautiful country, to its society, culture, and security, and to ensure that the sad history of my family will never happen again. So in March 2010, when I was an old man of 24, I joined the IDF, and I'm currently an officer in the Israeli Air Force. It's not easy to serve in a foreign army as a lone soldier. Your family lives in another country, and you have to find new friends. You have to be a parent, making food yourself, do your own laundry, paying bills, and so on. Not an easy task for a young man without his mommy. Well, every week I was invited for Shabbat dinner at another house. It's a great feeling to get the support from the people. It is because of all of you here, supporters of the Jewish Agency for Israel, that my brothers in arms and I had the opportunity to experience Israel through different programs of the Jewish Agency. All of you are part of my story, a proud lieutenant in the Israeli Defense Forces. Sam, you said you were ready to take action. So what did you do?
It's funny you ask that. So it was late December 2010, and I had been in the management consulting world for about a year and a half, living a lifestyle parallel to that of George Clooney in Up in the Air, and might I add, just as good looking. So, having been assigned to a client based in Toronto, Canada, I found myself waking up to the early morning chill of the Great White North. My days and nights blurred together, mixing analysis, client meetings, and frequent cups of coffee with infrequent and minimal hours of sleep. As the winter continued and the snow grew deeper, I found myself questioning the path I was on. I began researching opportunities to come to Israel that combined my passion with Eretz Yisrael with the governmental issues that intrigued me. And I came upon the Israel Government Fellows. This is a 10-month leadership program for college graduates and young professionals that matches their skills and expertise with the needs of various ministries and branches of Israel's government. For me, the opportunity to experience life in Israel while actively contributing to its government sounded like the perfect fit. But there was one very large drawback: $15,000 program cost. The answer became clear during a discussion I had with a close mentor. Though my work was extremely interesting and challenging, he knew that passion was the thing that was missing from the path that I was on. He asked me, "Sam, if you were to get hit by a car today, would you be able to look at your life and feel fulfilled by what you've accomplished?" That was it. I completed my application to the Israel Government Fellows, and at the conclusion of my assignment, left my job. Financially, the scholarship I got from Masa helped make all of this possible. Now, 2 months into my time with Masa, I've had occasions that run parallel to my consulting experience in terms of sheer hours in the office. Over the Sukkot holiday, a period in Israel where government offices are shut down and workers are on vacation.
Not the army, my friend.
Nachon, not the army. I found myself in the office every single day, including the weekends. My boss was due to give 2 lectures in Brazil to the Brazilian Bar Association, and she asked me to create the lecture notes and presentation, the 2 together, a total of 5 hours of talk time. With nights lasting until 2 a.m. or later, one might think I would have been burned out, just like I'd been in the consulting world. However, my response was just the opposite. I was invigorated and alive.
Our stories are only 3 out of tens of thousands of young Jews from across 50 countries who have participated in more than 150 programs under the Masa umbrella. There's truly something for everyone. Sam, Pascal, and I are proud to be here as ambassadors for Masa Israel programs, and we hope even more young people will take advantage of this amazing opportunity to spend time working and studying in Israel. And we want to thank all of you for your hard work and continued support to make all of this possible. Thank you.